All right. Speaking of chemistry, I got a good transition into something else we want to talk about. So, Mr. Sariello, I I heard you're pretty good with chemistry. I just want to say congratulations. We heard that you proposed. You're engaged.
Yeah, I did. That kind of
Yeah, that kind of chemistry.
wow. At first, I thought that was going in. Oh, we heard you're like a certified chemistry teacher, and I was like, yeah, I am.
Welcome to episode 16 of the DMT show. If you don't already know, my name is Andy.
My name's Ashad.
My name is Aryan.
And my name is Jayson. And today we have a very special guest. Someone I'm happy to be the protege of, the third greatest physicist of all time. Please introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Mr. Sariello. I teach physics at Syosset High School, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad to be part of a podcast, something that you guys take a lot of pride in, you're passionate about, so I'd love to support you.
We're very happy to have you here. I'll tell you that. So, you already know, first physics teacher, third greatest physicist of all time. But how did that start? Why physics?
That's a great question. So I always tell my students, I don't know if you remember this, but I actually declared that I would be a physics major at Geneseo before I even took physics in high school. I took physics as a senior.
I do remember that.
So how did I get into physics? I just watched like the Science Channel specials, the stuff on Discovery Channel. I came across a couple books. I remember sitting in the locker room when I was like a sophomore in high school, and we were like waiting for the period to end or something. And this kid shows me this book. He's like, "Hey, read this. This is pretty cool." And it was an excerpt from the book The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, and that gets into like string theory and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
So,
string theory is so confusing to me.
It's a very accessible book. It's meant for like anyone who's just has a general science knowledge. But one of the first excerpts from the book was getting into relativity and relative motion, and it was just something I had never really thought about. I still remember to this day the example. It's a pretty basic example, but again, something as sophomore in high school I never thought about. And it was just the idea of if you are on a bus and you're holding a ball, right? And the bus is going 30 miles an hour. To you, the ball is stationary, but to someone else, it's moving at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But if you're standing on that bus, it's going 30 miles an hour, and you throw the ball backwards at 30 miles an hour. To you, it's going backwards at 30 miles an hour. But to a person off the bus on the side of the road, it's stationary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That really just excited my interest in physics, just to think about the world in a way kind of like that. And then that just got things going, I guess.
Yeah. I had something similar when it comes to physics. Like, I was on a train one time. I just thought, like, wait, if I jump, will I just fly into the back of the train? So in the entire train ride, I never left the ground because I was terrified of dying, because I'm like, this train's moving like 100 miles per hour. I don't want to do this. And then I like saw someone else like do it, and then they didn't die. And I'm just I'm like, how does this work? And I asked my parents about it, and they explained it. And I was like 8, and I still don't understand it. But now, like, I'm actually in physics, not as your student, but now
it's a tragedy that you're not.
It's all coming together.
I was actually thinking about, did you guys watch the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, I did.
I know.
Watch it.
We don't,
the most recent
I
episode, or 2 episodes ago, they were on top of a train, right? And there was some stuff going on, which I thought was pretty neat.
It didn't seem to make a lot of sense, like physically. Like I felt like they should have been there. Like,
yeah, there's no air resistance. No air resistance.
Yeah. The classic example. Wait. So I have a question. Just yes or no question. So you've been exposed to a lot of media. Do you watch Vsauce? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't subscribe or anything. Like, I just kind of watch it as I see it.
Oh.
Also, I heard Jayson refer to you as the third greatest physicist of all time. Who are the other two physicists above you, I guess?
Well, definitely Sir Isaac Newton. That's number one.
Of course.
I don't know, Jayson. Who else is ahead of me? I can't even think. Maybe Einstein?
Me? No, never mind. Maybe Einstein. No, you said Dirac. I don't know what his name is. Something like that. Dirac.
Oh,
The Rock?
so part of the joke is that so there's this famous physicist. His name is Paul Dirac. He was the guy who theorized antimatter before it was ever like discovered, and he finished out his career as a professor at Florida State, maybe in the 70s, maybe 80s. And when he was there, he had a graduate student, a PhD student. This guy, Stephen Padalino. Stephen Padalino got his PhD, went on to become a physics professor at Geneseo, who then had me. So you got this guy, Paul Dirac, who's like, if you look at this, the top 10 physicists, you got him. And then you got Dr. Padalino, then you got me, and then you got like Jayson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just a higher, not a hierarchy, it's just a trait of
top
excellence.
5.
Yeah, it's like 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. You did say like what got you interested into physics, but what got you interested into like teaching? Like what made you want to be a teacher?
So me being oblivious to the world, I was just like, oh, physics is cool. Everyone loves physics, right? And then you start talking to people and they're like, oh my God, I hate physics. Oh, I hate physics. I hate physics. I hate physics. And I was like, how do you hate physics? It's like so much fun. And I guess I was kind of naive. And at first I thought, I love physics. Everyone else loves physics. This is great. But as I started to realize that my friends hated physics, maybe not necessarily because their teacher was bad, but maybe it was a lack of math ability. Maybe it was just a lack of general interest in the subject. I was like, you know what? I want to do something where I can kind of get that interest going in other students, show students things that maybe I wasn't shown when I was a student, or my friends weren't shown when they were students, that can hopefully spark some interest in them in the world of physics.
All right.
That's cool.
All right.
Great idea,
like that.
way of thinking.
Jayson, I got a question for you. What is your opinion on physics now? Like, do you love physics? How do you feel?
Oh,
Mr.
man,
Sariella's
it's like,
class?
you know-
There is a right answer to this question, Jayson.
Okay, so I like Mr. Sariello. He's a great guy. But as far as physics goes, physics itself is alright, but there was just one unit that was just annoying, which was circular motion, because once they started introducing gravity and like forces of different bodies together, I was like, oh, this is a lot. And then I was like, oh man, it was so annoying. But after, it's like overall, it's not too bad. Like once you get a grasp on it, like you're fine. But sometimes you don't get a grasp on it, like ever. I was gonna say, it's really sometimes it's hard to get a grasp on it.
For me, physics is like, it's fun because, not fun, but like it's interesting because it's like kind of applicable to real life. Like if you learn trigonometry, you're not like, oh yeah, cosine. I'm gonna use this again in my.
But you use
daily life.
cosine in physics, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, but
Bad
like,
example, but yeah.
what?
Like,
Fine.
like
I
chemistry.
But, like-
Chemistry. Like, what are you
No,
gonna
but
do
like
with
the
chemistry?
understandings of physics, like
my
the. What? Wait, what'd you say?
no, Orange is such an idiot. He said, "What do you do with chemistry, dude? Are you kidding?" Anyway, go ahead, Ashok.
Okay, but yeah, like the train example. Like once you get a grasp of certain aspects of physics, you can like understand why things work the way they do. So that's just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of chemistry, I got a good transition into
Oh, no.
something else we want to talk about. So, Mr. Sariello, I heard you're pretty good with chemistry. I just want to say congratulations. We heard that you proposed. You're engaged.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. That kind of
Yeah, that kind of chemistry.
wow. At first, I thought that was going in. Oh, we heard you're like a certified chemistry teacher, and I was like, yeah, I am.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
We didn't-
Oh.
But yeah, I did get engaged this year. Thanks.
How did you propose? What was the story?
I think I told this on like the first day. So I'm really bad at planning everything. I'll tell you guys the whole thing. I don't plan anything. Like lessons, I'm
I like
maybe
that.
a day out. I don't really plan too far in advance. So we had a trip planned, my now fiance and I. We were going to Yosemite in San Francisco. And there's like all these cool hikes in Yosemite, you know, all these beautiful scenic views. And I was like, oh, that would be a pretty good place to propose. So it's like a week before the trip. No, 5 days before we're leaving. And I go to the jeweler with one of my friends, actually, someone, I'm not going to say anyone else's names, but one of the other teachers at Syosset. And we went to the jeweler, picked out a ring, told them what I wanted. They're like, yeah, we'll have this ready by Monday, because I was leaving on Tuesday. Sure enough, it was ready like right away, because they have the diamond, they have the setting, they just kind of put it together. So it was ready, and then of course, for those like 24 hours or whatever. I was pretty nervous. Like I had like this ring in my hand. It's expensive, right? Probably the most expensive thing I've ever held in my hand. So then you got to like, I'm worried about going through like airport security with it, and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I still remember. So I had it like, it was like in a little box in my backpack. And I remember my backpack gets through like the security thing, and I'm still waiting on the other side of security while my backpack has already made it through. And I'm just like looking at my backpack. I'm like, so nobody better steal my backpack. Nobody better steal my backpack. I'm never normally worried about that. Sure enough, I got through. So then, the whole trip, I'm surprised she didn't know anything was going on, but the whole trip, every time we got out of the car, whether it was to like walk into McDonald's to get something to eat or whatever, I brought my backpack with me. And she's like, you don't have to bring your backpack. I'm like, no, didn't you hear the guy? Like, he was like talking about like break-ins in the area. She's like, big bears breaking into the car, not like people breaking into your backpack. So anyway, but I was carrying my backpack with me everywhere. And, I'm like, okay, when's the perfect opportunity to do it? So the first day there, we went on a hike up El Capitan, which is like well known from the documentary Free Solo.
Yo,
it's mono climbed with like no equipment whatsoever.
That's insane.
So we went up the back way. we didn't go up. So it was about 5. We started the hike before 6 a.m. and we got to the end of the hike, like the peak of the hike, at the top of the mountain at about, I want to say, like noon. So we're talking like 5 hours of hiking.
Yeah.
Body was absolutely destroyed. It was about 11 miles. 11 miles.
11 miles.
And you're climbing probably close to like 4,000 feet, but you're also like going up and down.
This sounds like a physics problem. Like,
yeah, really good distance versus displacement.
With the air resistance, probably didn't help either. Yeah.
So anyway, so part of when you buy a ring is you don't really know what size to get. Like everyone's fingers are a little different. I didn't have her there to test it on. So you just kind of guess. You go like half size up. So we kind of get to the top, and then it's pretty flat up there, and we're walking to like the stack of rocks that like marks like the top. So we're walking over there, and she just out of nowhere looks down at her fingers and goes, my fingers are looking really swollen. So I'm like, oh shoot, this thing's not gonna fit. So we're up there. We were the only people in sight. Did the whole proposal thing. The ring, of course, didn't fit. It like stopped like here. So the pictures we have originally are like her like wearing her ring like this, or like on her pinky or something. And I got to say, one thing I really like about it, like the common thing now is people like hire photographers to like follow them and take like pictures from afar. Well, there was no way that would have happened for us because we were we were completely isolated. So all of our pictures that like of the proposal were just like selfies we took, which I kind of liked.
You just found like a rock and then you place your phone on and then run back.
I mean, it's kind of weird knowing that there's just a guy like 30 feet back just taking pictures of you while you're.
Yeah, and also, he would also have to do the 11-mile hike. So
yeah, that was a pretty.
With a camera.
I didn't plan anything, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like also if you brought a camera person, then like when your like fiance, I guess, gets suspicious of it.
Well,
yeah,
if
right?
I were to do that, what you do in those parks, and it's actually really common, is you hire someone to be like your guide for the day, and they actually do have like guides who, let's say you're a family and you don't want to get lost or you don't want to whatever. Generally, they have guides who are like, they have like they're experts in the park.
Yeah.
But I will say, that definitely, going to Yosemite is a beautiful trip. Highly recommend you guys go and check it out. It was
we should go there. Group vacation, group hike.
We should have a physics field trip.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Oh, imagine like drop the rock and like something else from the top, so you could see that like it's 9.8 meters per second downward acceleration.
You go all the way to Yosemite just to drop it.
Yeah, just for that.
Isn't there?
I feel like we've done a lab like that already.
Isn't there actually a physics field trip to Six Flags, or do we still do that?
They've done it before. They haven't done it. They didn't do it 2 years ago. Obviously, we didn't do it last year. I don't know if and when that's coming back, but as of now, no.
Great.
That was the thing to go to Six Flags.
All right. How long have you been teaching in Syosset?
This is my 3rd year at Syosset, and it is my trying to do math in my head, 8th year teaching overall.
So where did you teach before this?
So at first I taught for 4 years at Chaminade. That's where I went to high school.
Okay.
And then, it was a bit of the same old. Like teaching at the school that you went to was a little bit too much of the same for me. I definitely wanted like a change of pace. So I made the jump to public school. I taught for a year at Amerenik. Overall, I really liked the school, but I felt like it was a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? What was interesting about that school? I really liked it. I have nothing bad to say. But all the teachers had their own rooms, and nobody left their room all day.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Like in our high school, they have like offices with like
right,
multiple
and
teachers
that's
together.
one thing I love about Syosset is that we have the opportunity. I mean, you're forced to leave your room even if you don't want to, but then you have that opportunity to just talk to your colleagues, collaborate with your colleagues very informally. Whereas at that school, it was like everyone just sat in their room all day, and that was your room, which was nice. It was nice having your own space as a teacher that like no one else would infringe on. You could set up your labs and not worry about breaking them down or anything. But I was like dying for like socialization. I would like walk around the building being like bothering other teachers, like, hey, like what's going on?
So, you said you went to Chaminade and you taught there. Chaminade's a private school, right?
Yeah.
It is.
So,
yeah, all boys.
You've been both private and public. What would you say is like a benefit, I guess, in private school compared
Pros
to,
and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons.
That's a great question, and I think it really depends on the student. I really liked my experience. I couldn't really picture high school being different. I can't really picture it being better. I was provided with a lot of opportunities that school specifically offered, not because it was a private school, but because of just like what they offered. One thing I will say I did like a lot, and there's a lot of education research that goes into this, but I really liked that I went to school with students who were from all over Long Island and New York City, which I thought was a unique opportunity that, I kind of found interesting. Like, did you all grow up in Syosset, at least school-wise?
Yeah.
You've been going to school with, I mean, maybe, you merged elementary, middle schools, but you've been going to school with students who live in like this 3-mile radius your whole life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? So there's a lot of education research that goes into that, like how we zone schools and, is it good for student development? So that was one thing I really liked, was that I had friends that were all over Long Island. And I will say, like, my really good close friends were actually just from like the Plainview, Hicksville, Syosset area anyway. So it's not like they were from that far away. But I did have friends who were from Queens. I did have friends who were from all over Suffolk County. Geographically undesirable at times, but I thought that was one big pro. For sure.
What about like the all boys aspect of it? Did you find that as like not too bad of a thing, or was it pretty bad? Like, I don't know.
Like I said, like I didn't really notice it. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to put this into words. That's just the way school was.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. That's
I
the way
guess you
school
like
was.
you never knew anything different, so like it didn't feel weird, I guess.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I went to middle school. It was a co-ed middle school. But then when I went to high school, it was just all boys. And, at that age, when let's say you're in middle school, going into high school, you're mainly friends, if you're a boy anyway, in this case, I'm just stereotyping, but your group of friends is going to be guys, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
So then when you go into high school, it's just like you're going to school with just your friends, like instead of being, so that's just the way it was. I know it's kind of weird. It's not really a great answer, but it's just kind of the way school was.
No, it does make sense.
It makes sense.
There's like no right answer for it. It's just like an opinion.
Yeah, it's because it's like I don't have the comparison. Like I didn't go to high school with all
like
boys and high school with boys and girls and then compare. It was just that's the way it was, and it was fine.
We can't talk about an experience versus like an all boys school because obviously we haven't been to it.
Right.
So you probably couldn't answer the same question.
All right. So we heard that you like to cook. Do you want to tell us about that?
I'll tell you what's going tonight. So started this morning at like 10 a.m.
Oh man.
Ribs were on sale this week. So I got a rack of ribs. Put the rub on this morning. Wrapped them in saran wrap and put them in the fridge for a few hours, which I was reading online to do. And took them out, threw them in at 250, maybe I'm looking at the clock right now, at maybe 3:30. I threw them in, so I did 2 hours covered in aluminum foil. Then I just uncovered them at 5:30. I'm going to go at least another 2 hours, and then I'm going to broil them at the end. So that's what's going tonight. Ribs are easy though. It's like pretty much a set up and forget it. I didn't even make the rub myself, or I didn't make the barbecue sauce myself. It's kind of store bought that stuff.
Yeah, ribs are pretty easy, but yeah.
Yeah, cooking. I found it started with me being like kind of frugal. Like I don't want to spend $70 for like me and my fiance to go out to eat. So I'd rather spend like $20 on all the same ingredients and just make something. But it's also like the process of it. I find that you kind of develop certain skills. You have to think in a different way when you cook. And, for us too, sometimes if we're cooking together, it's something that we have to, sounds silly, but like we have to like have teamwork, like maneuvering a kitchen together. We get in each other's way. We mess stuff up. Just the other day I was making, I forgot some noodle thing, but I accidentally put Worcestershire sauce in instead of soy sauce.
No,
I just completely ruined a recipe. That's what happens, and you learn how to navigate a kitchen together. Yeah. Just a few weeks ago, I had one of my friends was visiting, one of my good friends from high school. She and her boyfriend were visiting, and I was like, "Oh, I'll cook for you guys when you come." So I cooked. We had a roast in the oven. I made a pizza, and it was all kind of there. Like my kitchen island, like that I have here in my apartment, it's got like bar stools added or counter height stools. So as I'm cooking, you can talk and mingle with your friends. So it kind of just creates that environment where I'd rather do this, where I'm cooking and still talking to everybody, than just going out to dinner, sitting there and talking, because I find this is more of like a free environment. It's a little more comfortable, a little more casual. And like I said, like cheaper, quite frankly.
Yeah. Do you have like...
What do you... I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what do you think is like the worst part of cooking? Because obviously, like you said, I assume that those are the best parts of cooking, like being able to communicate and work together with someone, and it's way cheaper than buying out. But
when
like,
it doesn't work, when it doesn't come out the way you want it. Like one thing I make all the time, I probably make it like once a week. I'll make pizza, I'll make the dough, do the sauce, throw the stuff on top. And I was just mentioning when my friend came, the pizza stuck to the skillet so badly.
Oh,
no. So frustrating. And it was just like one of those things, like I prepped it in the morning. I made the dough at 10 a.m. And then you put the dough into the pan, you get the sauce going, you get everything going. Then you get to the crescendo, you're putting the pizza in, you take it out in front of everybody, and then you try to take it out and you can't get it out, and you rip up the pizza and you get frustrated. So when things don't work out, or like I was saying, when I accidentally add the wrong ingredient, or I forget to add an ingredient, or I forget some of the steps in the cooking, those are some of the things that really frustrate me. And I hate grocery shopping. Absolutely hate grocery shopping.
That's fair. What would you do in that situation? Wait, what would you do in that situation? Like where something doesn't turn out and you have like a dinner, you just eat it when it's bad. You just like you just have to get through it.
Well, in that case, the taste was good. It was just like the whole bottom half of the pizza was like done, like just couldn't take it off.
Okay.
So it was fine. The taste was good, and there was no real issues. But fortunately, I live like in a downtown area, so I was like, hey, if it doesn't work out, like we can just get like wings and pizza from a place right here. So there's really no
I guess that works. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a hot take. You said you put like the barbecue sauce with the ribs. I think that ribs without barbecue sauce are better than ribs with barbecue sauce. That's my hot take.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm
actually gonna not put barbecue sauce on the ribs. It will only be on the side.
Yes, good choice.
Sure.
Marion's vegetarian, by the way.
We'll do sweet potatoes on the side. So
yeah.
There you go.
I love sweet potatoes. We're gonna start going into our final set of questions. We like to call them the quick fire questions.
Oh boy.
So first one, we heard that you play Clash of Clans.
I used to.
Yeah.
I don't
what town
play.
hall were you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. I used to back in the day.
I remember I used to. I got to like Town Hall 7. And damn walls, man. They got too expensive to upgrade.
Walls, yeah.
So
I think my walls were like purple crystals at one point. Does that
That's
sound
like, I think I was like
7,
getting
bro.
to that tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of fell out of it. But I haven't played it in probably like 2 years though.
All right. Next one. Kind of cycling back to something we talked about earlier. Going back to the romantic side of things. What if you had to give love advice to a bunch of high schoolers? What would your love advice be?
Pursue things you're passionate about. People gravitate, and this is just platonic romantic relationships. People gravitate towards those who are passionate about something and share their passion with others.
All right.
That's cool. Thank you for the
Okay.
advice.
Yeah.
We need it.
Okay.
Oh man.
So we have a famous would you rather, not famous, I don't know why I say famous. It's a would
No,
you
it's,
rather
it's
question.
world renowned.
World renowned would you rather question that we like to ask everyone.
Okay.
Would you rather have unlimited money and unlimited friends, or no money and no friends? You gotta think about it though. Think about it a little carefully.
This is a deep physics question right here.
I
Yeah.
have to go unlimited money, unlimited friends. I can't have no friends.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you find it a little overburdening though?
No.
No?
I'm pretty bad at texting back
Yeah.
like the 4 friends I have. So yeah, I guess.
That is what a show does right there.
She'll never respond
relax.
to
Wait,
any
wait.
text message.
On average,
It's just I have
how
my
long-
phone on silent like all the time. Just I don't know because during school I never have it on a ringtone because I won't disturb anyone. So I just always have it on silent, and they text me. I don't see it sometimes until like a while later.
A
Yeah.
while, as
You
in
gotta
like
check
4
that,
days later. It shows
Who
you're
said-
too cool for
I
us.
flipped the question. Who says no money, no friends?
Oh,
Alright.
I think I said
He's
it.
the only person.
No, I feel like some
The
other
only
people have said it.
No,
No? Wait,
no, just
I think you're the only dude, bro.
Alright, yeah. Our
Hey, do you
last
have a-
one.
Oh,
Oh,
never mind.
No,
I thought Andy
what?
had something to say, but I guess not.
Andy?
I
bad.
forgot. I blinked.
Okay. Our last one. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask us?
Yeah. So actually, I've been prepping this question since I watched your DePaolo interview.
Oh.
Oh boy.
So what's one thing, I guess this is for all of you, that Syosset High School could do that's feasible to make every student's experience there better?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I feel like okay.
Don't say like, oh,
Ah.
we want like a dome over our football stadium. Like obviously,
Okay, so I don't know how, like you said, feasible this is, but I feel like literally guaranteeing every student a lunch period would just eliminate so much stress from a lot of people, because for a lot of kids in their like freshman year they'll have a lunch period, and then maybe in their sophomore year they'll have a lunch period. And there's a lot of kids in junior year that just don't. Senior year you kind of do because you're like it's kind of like a
right?
little lighter in terms of the work. But luckily, like me personally, I've had a lunch period all 3 years so far. But I know a lot of people who just don't have that kind of like time. They just want to fill up their schedule. So I feel like just having a lunch period where you could just relax for like just 40 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed, don't gotta worry about it, would just be nice for a lot of students. I think one thing for me is like the teacher should put it like it's not even the school. It's just the teacher should put in like an effort to potentially like collaborate and try to make it so that homework and like at-home assignments don't line up too much and become overwhelming for a student. And like I'm like very appreciative of like teachers that don't give a lot of homework like you. Like you don't give like an overbearing amount of homework. Like it's I don't think you realize how
Spanish honors.
insanely nice it is to not have like, oh yeah, I run through my schedule, do I have this homework, do that, and then it's like, oh, I don't have physics. Like thank goodness. Like it's just like it's so nice to like just have free time and have a life. So yeah, literally, I was just like something that like, but when you do have all those classes line up and pile up at the end of the day, you're like, man, this is like 3 hours of work after I already did 6 hours of school. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be nice if like teachers were like, yo, this guy already like people already have like this many classes like going on. Let's cut off on the homework for one day if that's even possible. But if it was possible, I think it would be a great idea.
I think personally, I think periods could go by doing like a bit shorter, going a bit shorter. I remember like I think it was 2 weeks ago on like a Monday, or the day we came back from break, we had the 2-hour bus delay because none of the bus drivers were available due to COVID. It was so nice. It was a little too short then, but like a nice like 32 minute period would be so much better than I think like a 40-minute period. Even like that small, it doesn't seem like much of a change. It's like 5 less minutes, but it makes the day a lot more bearable. That's what I see it.
Dude, 8th period, learn to start 9th period, 8 push, man. Dude, it is it's a struggle, dude. It is a struggle.
Shit.
Then 40 minutes feel like an hour and a half.
I don't really know. Just maybe I was gonna say something about homework, but then Jayson, you probably said it, so I'd say something different now. But like, I guess you guys kind of made an effort already, but like for tests not to overlap, I guess now I haven't seen as much of it. But that's like what my answer would have been. But sometimes teachers just like ignore the testing schedule, and it's super annoying. but it's just what it is.
All right. So
Actually, I have one last question. Hold on.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Serial, do you have any pet peeves about students, like when it comes to work or something, or like anything like that?
So there's one, and my other physics teacher friends and I, like ones who don't even work at Syosset, we bring this one up a lot. If a student ever asks, like basically verbatim, which equation do I use? That's a question I don't like. I appreciate like how I approach this, or I tried this and it didn't work. I think when students start to think that like, oh, I just have to plug the thing into the right equation and I'll always get the answer in physics, it's kind of like, no, you're kind of missing the point. So yeah, that's like my biggest pet peeve if a student asks, and I tell students this all the time, like, don't ask me like which equation to use. Like, ask me, how do I do this? This is what I tried. This didn't work. I tried this. This didn't work. Those are the questions to be asking.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It does make sense.
All right. The last thing we like to do with all of our guests is we like to allow them to wrap up the episode. So you get to say the final message, whatever it may be. So yeah, go ahead.
So I just got to say, I was actually debating whether or not to come on this podcast. I was like, oh, I'm a kind of a new teacher. I don't know if I should be on this podcast. It's outside of like school, let's say. But then I thought about it and I said, these are 4 students who have something they're clearly passionate about, possibly even something they want to pursue further beyond school. And I said, you know what, if what I'm doing will help them build their skills in interviewing or in doing a podcast, I said, how could I pass up on that opportunity? This is something they love. They give me their time, well, specifically Jayson, sitting through my physics class all the time, right? So this is the least I could do is support you guys and what you do outside of school.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank
you
for
guys for
coming
having me.
on.
Pleasure.
And thank you for everyone watching. And we will see you guys next week.
Next week. Next
All right, see you
week.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.